Yeah, that was what I was.
And look, the picture's up there.
Yeah.
You can start singing.
הנה מה טוב ומנעים, שבת אחים גם יחד. הנה מה טוב ומנעים, שבת אחים גם יחד. הנה מה טוב, שבת אחים גם יחד. הנה מה טוב, שבת אחים גם יחד.
Margaret, I'd love to invite you to light our Shabbat candles for us, if you are willing. I know we're doing this a little bit sooner.
Okay.
But we want to try out our new camera. We rise. Thank you, Robbie.
And we're on page 118.
Amen. Shabbat
Shabbat
Shalom.
Shalom.
Let's wish one another a Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
We turn in our prayer books to Yedid Nefesh on page 126.
ידיד נפש אף הרחמן, ידיד נפש אף הרחמן, בשוכבתך אל רצונך, בשוכבתך יא לי 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 אל רצונך ירוץ עבדך כמויל ישתחווה יא לי 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 אל מול הדרכך ידיד נפש הרחמן, ידיד נפש אף הרחמן, בשוכבתך אל רצונך, בשוכבתך יא לי 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 אל רצונך.
Page 128, Ki Eshmera Shabbat. And this beautiful Baghdad melody.
כי ישמרה שבת, אל ישמרני, כי ישמרה שבת, אל ישמרני, אותי לא מעט בינו וביני, אותי לא מעט בינו וביני, כי ישמרה שבת, אל ישמרני.
On page 129. May the door of this synagogue be wide enough to receive all who hunger for love, all who are lonely for friendship, May it welcome all who have cares to unburden, thanks to express, hopes to nurture. May the door of the synagogue be narrow enough to shut out pettiness and pride, envy and enmity. May its threshold be no stumbling block to young or straying feet. May it be too high to admit complacency, selfishness and harshness. May the synagogue be, for all who enter, the doorway to a richer and more meaningful life. Page 134, Zamru Ladonai.
Zamru Ladonai Bechino, Bechino V'kol Zimra, Bachot Sodrot B'kol Shofar, Ariyu Lifnei HaMelech Adonai, Yiram Hayam Umlo'o, Tevel V'yoshvei Ba, Neharot Yimchau Chav Yachad Harim Yeranenu, Lifnei Adonai Kiva Lishpot Haaretz, Yishpot Tevel B'tzedek, Ve'amim B'meisharim, Yiram Hayam Umlo'o, Tevel V'yoshvei Va, Neharot Yimchau Chav Yachad Harim Yeranenu. And we move on to page 138 to welcome the Shabbat with Lecha Dodi. Lecha Dodi likat kala, Pnei Shabbat nekabela, Lecha Dodi likat kala, Pnei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha Dodi likat kala, Pnei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha Dodi likat kala, Pnei Shabbat nekabela. Shamor v'zachor b'dibur echad, Hishmiyanu el am yuchad, Adonai echad, u'shemo echad, L'Shem ultiferet v'litila. Lecha Dodi likat kala, Pnei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha Dodi likat kala, Pnei Shabbat nekabela. Likrat Shabbat lehu v'nilcha, Ki mekor habracha, Merosh mikedem nesuha, Sof maaseh b'machshava techila. Lecha Dodi likat kala, Pnei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha Dodi likat kala, Pnei Shabbat nekabela. Hitoreri, Kiva orer, Kumi uri, Shiedaberi, Kevot Adonai alayich nigla. Lecha Dodi likat kala, Pnei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha Dodi likat kala, Pnei Shabbat nekabela. Boi v'shalom ateret bala, Gam b'simcha u'v'tzola, Toch emunei am segula. Boi ichala bo ichala. Lecha dodi likat kala. Penei Shabbat nikabela. Lecha dodi likat kala. Penei Shabbat nikabela.
As we are seated, we turn to Shalom Aleichem on page 142.
Shalom Aleichem, Malachei Hasharet, Malachei Elyon. Mi Melech, Malachei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Bochem LaShalom, Malachei HaShalom, Malachei Elyon. Mi Melech, Malachei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Bachuni LeShalom, Malachei HaShalom, Malachei Elyon. Mi Melech, Malachei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Tzedrim LeShalom, Malachei HaShalom, Malachei Elyon. Mi Melech, Malachei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu.
Let us rise for the Chatzi Kaddish on page 144.
יתגדל ויתקדש מרבה, בעלמא דברך ירוצי וימלך מלכותי, פרעה יכול וביום יכול, וברכי לכל בית ישראל. פגלה, ובזמן קריב, ואמרו אמן. יהי שמי רבה מבורך, לעולם עולם עלמיה, יתברך וישתבח, ויתפאר ויתרומם ויתנשא, ויתהדר ויתעלה ויתהלל, שמי בקודשה ברכו, לילה מכל בחטא ושירתה, תושפכתה ונחמתה, תמירן במה, ואמרו אמן. ברכו את אדוני המבורך.
Page 148. The blessing that brings about the evening, the Ma'ariv Arevim. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher bidbaro Ma'ariv Arevim, b'chokhmah poteach sha'arim, ובתבונה משנה עתים ומחליף את הזמנים, ומסדר את הכוכבים במשמורותיהם ברקיע כרצונו. בורא יום ולילה, גולל אור מפני חושך וחושך מפני אור. ומעביר יום ומביא לילה, ומבדיר בין יום ובין לילה, אדוני צבאות שמו. אל חי וקיים, תמיד ימלוך עלינו לעולם ועד. ברוך אתה אדוני, המעריב ערבים.
אהבת עולם, בית ישראל, עמך אהבת, עמך אהבת, תורה ומצוות, חוקים ומשפטים, אותנו לימדת, אותנו לימדת. על כן אדוני אלוהינו בשוכבנו ובקומנו נעשייה בחוקיך, ונשמח בדברי תורתך ובמצוותיך לעולם עת, כי הם חיינו ואורך ימינו, ובהם נגי יומם ולילה, נגי יומם ולילה. ואהבת רע אל תסיר ממנו לעולמים, ברוך אתה אדוני, אוהב עמו ישראל, אוהב עמו ישראל. שמע ישראל, אדוני אלוהינו, אדוני אחד. ברוך שם כבוד מלכותו לעולם ועד.
You may be seated. ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודיך, והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך, ושינתם לבניך ודיברת בם בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך ובשוכבך ובקומך, וקשרתם להיות על ידיך, והיו לטוטפות על עיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך, למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי, והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים, להיות לכם לאלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אדוני אלוהיכם אמת. In the top of page 157. Standing on the parted shores of history, we still believe what we were taught before ever we stood at Sinai's foot, that wherever we go it is eternally Egypt, that there is a better place, a promised land, that the winding way to that promise passes through the wilderness, that there is no way to get from here to there except by joining hands, marching together.
Lai 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 la 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 lai 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 la 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 lai 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 mi chamocha ba'elim Adonai mi kamocha neda b'kodesh nohati lot osefel nohati lot osefel malchutecha ra'uvanecha bokei hayam lifnei Moshe u'Miriam zeheli anu ve'amru Adonai imloch le'olam ba'ed.
ונאמר כי פדה אדוני את יעקב וגאל לא מיד חזק ממנו ברוך אתה אדוני גאל Israel. Blessed are you, Eternal One, for redeeming the people, the country, the nation, the essence of who we are, the one who struggles with Israel, the one who struggles. Hashkivenu on page 160.
Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu leshalom Amideinu Malkeinu lechaim. Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu leshalom Amideinu Malkeinu lechaim.
Baruch atah Adonai הפורש סוכת שלום עלינו ועל כל עמו ישראל ועל ירושלים. ושמרו on page 162.
ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. ביני ובין בני ישראל ביני ובין בני ישראל אותי לעולם ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. כי ששת ימים עשה אדוני את השמיים ואת הארץ. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. וביום השביעי שבת וינפש. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם.
Friends, let us rise for the Amidah on page 164. The first few blessings we'll recite together, and then we'll continue with the blessings of the meditations of our heart, the readings on the page. We'll continue with silent prayer after the first couple of blessings.
Adonai sefatai tifta ufia gitelatecha. Adonai sefatai tifta ufia gitelatecha. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu Elohei Avotenu v'Imotenu Elohei Avraham Elohei Yitzhak Elohei תשיב הרוח ומוריד הגשם, מצריח השמש ומוריד הצל, וחטא חיים בחסד, וחיי הכל ברחמים רבים, צורך נופלים והופך עולים, ומתי הסורים, ומקיים אמונתו לשרת עפר, מי כמוך בגבורות, ומי דומה לך, מלך במיץ ומחיה, ומצליח ישועה, ונאמן אתה לחיות הכל, ברוך אתה אדוני בחיי הכל.
אתה קדוש ושמך קדוש, הקדושים בכל יום יהללוך סלה. ברוך אתה אדוני האל הקדוש. Continue now with the prayers of our hearts or the words on the pages.
עושה שלום במרומיו, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל, ואמרו אמן. יעשה שלום, יעשה שלום, שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל. יעשה שלום, יעשה שלום, שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל. יעשה שלום, יעשה שלום, שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל. יעשה שלום, יעשה שלום, שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל.
ועל כל יושבי תבל, may the entire world and its inhabitants bring about peace, and let us say amen.
Amen.
Well, this is fun for me. Gina will be sharing with us some words of Torah tonight. So Gina, I'm going to hand over the beamer to you, and I'm going to take the iPad and I'm going to try to zoom into you. So I'm going to go have a seat down there. So over to you, my dear friend.
Thank you. That's what happens when you're in a meeting and you look at the rabbi, and then the next thing she says is, you can do the drush on the 9th of June. Okay with you? Right. Parashat Shlach Lecha, which we will read tomorrow morning, is the story of the 12 scouts who were sent out to investigate and report back on their findings about Canaan, the promised land. In the 18 months since the Israelites left Egypt, they received the laws and entered into the covenant with God. They broke the covenant almost immediately to worship the golden calf. Then they renewed the covenant with God. On the journey so far, they've complained repeatedly about the food, fallen asleep when they should have stayed awake, and generally been difficult and ungrateful. Now, after 18 months, they're on the edge of the promised land, just a short distance away from the fulfillment of God's promise. Moses sends out 12 men as emissaries, one from each tribe, and each was also a chieftain. Their job is to scout the land and report back. Moses gives them specific instructions on where to start the journey in the Negev and what to look out for, and to bring back some fruit of the land. Tomorrow's reading stops there at verse 20, after Moses has given his instructions to the group. But for me, the really interesting part of the parashat is the return of the scouts and their report. Based on archaeological findings, we know that the scouts would have seen the desert of the Negev, they would have seen settled towns, areas known for their orchards, and sparsely populated mountain areas, as well as hills and slopes covered with wild thickets. One commentator wrote that wild goats would have foraged in the thickets, providing the flow of milk. The thickets also provided many varieties of flowers for the wild bees to provide honey, in reference to the promised land being the land of milk and honey. One commentator reminded me that the promised land was not just a geographical location. It also represented the Israelites' future. The 12 men were not merely sent to explore the land itself. They were sent on a mission to explore the future of a people. After 40 days, the scouts come back with a single grape that is so huge it has to be carried by 2 men on a special frame. They also bring back some pomegranates and figs. 10 of the men report that whilst it is indeed a land of milk and honey, the cities are fortified, the various people who live there are huge, and the Israelites are like grasshoppers in size compared to these people. Only Caleb and Joshua speak out to say that the Israelites should go and take possession of the land and would be able to overcome any difficulties because the Eternal would be with them. The report contains facts. The land is excellent and will provide food. Some cities are fortified. But the report also contains many personal perceptions, such as the views that the people are huge and that next to these people, the Israelites are like grasshoppers in size. In 3 weeks, we will hear Parashat Balak. Right at the start of that parashat, we hear Balak's perception of the Israelites. He does not see them as grasshoppers. Balak thinks they are oxen, in other words, strong and powerful, and Balak is very afraid of the Israelites. The Israelites choose to believe the negative views and perceptions of the 10 men. They rail against Moses and Aaron, and they want to head back to Egypt. In despair, Moses and Aaron fall on their faces, and it is left to Caleb and Joshua to speak up again. They repeat again that the land they scouted is exceedingly good. They also remind the Israelites that they should not rebel against God, and that God promised to be with them. What do the Israelites do? They threaten to pelt Caleb and Joshua with stones. The next very interesting thing to happen is a negotiation between Moses and God with Moses arguing very cleverly. God says he will destroy the Israelites, said enough. But Moses points out to God that if the Egyptians and all the other surrounding nations hear that God slayed his people wholesale, the nations would say, it must be because the Eternal was powerless to bring that people into the land promised to them on oath. Moses wins this argument. God agrees to pardon the people yet again. But their punishment will be that the adults who have disobeyed God will not see the promised land. The Israelites must wander the desert for 40 years until this generation has died out. From this generation, only Caleb and Joshua will see the promised land. When Moses tells the people what God has said, they have a change of heart. Now they do want to proceed into the promised land. Moses points out that by transgressing God's command yet again and going against God's judgments, they will not succeed. They march forth anyway and are roundly defeated by the Amalekites and Canaanites. What does this mean for us today? The account of the 12 men reminds us of the importance of faith and trust in God's promises. Joshua and Caleb stood firm in their conviction, recognizing that God was with them and they could conquer the challenges ahead. The majority of the scouts and the other Israelites, allowed fear and personal perceptions to cloud their judgment. They focused on the challenges rather than the opportunities. Amidst the negativity, Joshua and Caleb maintained a positive perspective. They saw the land's abundance, its potential, and, importantly, they remembered God's promises. The conclusion that I have drawn from the story of the 12 scouts and the Israelites' response to their report is that it teaches me about faith, trust, courage, maintaining a positive outlook, and not to succumb to populist perceptions around me. I believe that my connection to the narrative in this parashat invites me towards introspection. How do I respond to challenges in my life? Do I allow fear and doubt to cloud my judgment? Or do I emulate Caleb and Joshua, finding the strength to forge ahead with faith and optimism? I see it as a call to examine my own attitudes and to cultivate the resilience needed to overcome obstacles and embrace my personal journey. Shabbat Shalom.
Gives us a lot of food for thought, doesn't it? Contemplation. What clouds our thought? Gets in the way. So friends, let us move towards Aleinu. We are on page 586. And Judith, if I could ask you to come and open our ark for us, please. Let us rise. Shabbat Shalom, my dear.
Aleinu shabbat l'Adon hakol, לתת גדולה יוצא בראשית, שהוא נוטה שמיים ויוצא את הארץ, ומושב יקרו בשמיים ממעל, ושרינת עוזו בגופי מרומים, הוא אלוהינו עינות, ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים, הקדוש ברוך הוא, שהוא נוטה שמיים ויוצא את הארץ, ומושב יקרו בשמיים ממעל, ושרינת עוזו
And so we turn, friends, to the Mourner's Kaddish, page 598. And at this time, for the week of Shiva and for the 30 days of Shloshim, we remember Doris Markison, Jeff White, Sadie Viner, Sylvia Francis Lindau, Wendy Silva, Rosalind Mirkowski, and Robert or Bob Granger. And for the yard sites, the anniversaries of whose death fall on this Shabbat, we remember Bianca Weisenberg, grandmother of Ron Wise and Evelyn Ferrier, Isidore Weisenberg, grandfather of Ron Wise and Evelyn Ferrier, Norman James Findley, father of Ray Findley, Marie Findley, wife of Ray Findley, as well as niece of Thelma Gunsberg, Bachia Marcus, grandmother of Esther Zinger, Lynn Fowler, grandfather of Catherine Teal, Dorothy Blonde, mother of Simon, and Jack Bandor, uncle of Michael Bandor. If you'd like to remember a loved one for Shiva, the 7 days Shloshim, 30 days, or Yahrzeit, this being the anniversary of the death of a loved one, I invite you to share the names of your loved ones out loud, or if you'd like to share something about them as well, I certainly invite you to do so. So in memory, we share together the Kaddish. Yikadal v'yikadash shemei Rabbah, v'yamad divrach hirtei v'yamlich malchutei, chayachon of yomechon uv'chayedach ol Beit Yisrael, b'gala v'zman kariv v'meru. Yehei shemei Rabbah mevarach l'olam olamei almaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitramam v'yitnaseh, v'yitada v'yitaleh v'yitalal shemei d'kodesha b'richu. Le'elam min kol berchata v'shirata, tushbachata v'nechamata, damiran v'yama v'yimaru.
Amen.
Yehei shlama rabba min shemaya, chayim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'yimru.
Amen.
Oseh shalom b'mromav, hu yaseh shalom, aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'yimru.
Amen.
Amen. Hamakom yinachem echem b'toch shah havlei Tzion v'Yerushalayim. May the source of peace send peace to all who mourn and comfort to all who are bereaved in Zion and Jerusalem and around the world, and we say, Amen.
Amen.
Just as we are seated for a moment for announcements and our final song, our final hymn, a couple of the announcements that we have: TDRS tomorrow at 9 o'clock and our Shabbat morning services at 10:30. Monday Mahjong at 12 noon, not to be missed. If you have never come, you have to come. It's the place to be, the place to be seen. Then, of course, the next place to be and the place to be seen is Food for Thought on Tuesday at 10:30. And then the next place to be seen and the place is with Israeli Dancing with Margaret on Wednesday at 5:15, and I believe there is Wrestling with Judaism at 6:30 on Wednesday night at the same time as ITJ, and then Hebrew with Ken. That's the ultimate place to be seen, right, Ken? Yes. Be more enthusiastic. You got to be a Caleb and a Joshua, not the riffraff. And then adult B'nai Mitzvah. And don't forget the quiz night. Put together a table. Who's going to go to the quiz night? If you can't put together a table, join a table. I'm going to be there. The quiz night is on Saturday, the 29th of July. It's going to be our quiz nights are the best. The Temple David quiz nights are the best in the world. Even if you're hopeless like me, I'm not good at quiz nights, they are so much fun. It's the reason why I became a rabbi. The Temple David quiz nights. No. It's everything. No, it's everything themed. So no, it's. Sorry, if you think this is going to be like great about studying up on your Jewish stuff, it's not. General stuff, yes. Yes, I even got my parents to put together a table. Like, that's how popular it is. My parents don't do jack. But they'll do this.
They hear that.
Mum and Dad, I know you're not watching tonight, but you'll probably go and watch because somebody will tell you what I said tonight. No, the quiz night is awesome. It is, and the prizes, and then instead of, you don't have to bring your own food, you can order platters. Like, seriously, I mean, how good is this? BYO, alcohol, even better. Like, am I selling it enough? And then there's Uber to get home. All right, let's end there.
Our final song is on page 643, and it's Kol HaOlam.
Kulo.
Kulo. Kol HaOlam Kulo. Fitting for this parashat.
Yes, it is.
Kol HaOlam Kulo, Gesher Tameot, Gesher Tameot, Gesher Tameot, Kol HaOlam Kulo, Gesher Tameot, Gesher Tameot.
2, 3, 4.
V'hoika, lo lefachet kla. V'hoika, lo lefachet kla. Kol ha'olam kulo, gesher tameot, gesher tameot, gesher tameot. Kol ha'olam kulo, gesher tameot, gesher tameot.
So the whole world is a very narrow bridge. So we do it opposite in English. So Kol HaOlam, the whole world, is in Hebrew, bridge, narrow, very. So we do sing it in English when we're in youth group. And the whole world is a very narrow bridge, a very narrow bridge, a very narrow bridge. So, anyway, I'm glad that's going out into the ether. Shabbat shalom, everybody.
Kiddush out the front.
Kiddush is out the front. Please come and join us.